politicization of our education system to the detriment of the free education every child is entitled to. This project is nothing more than a tax shelter, because if you look at the documentation that I will provide later, having a charter school and a commercial, residential project go through is nothing for the tax god or the developer, okay? None of us have the luxury of having a tax god or a tax shelter. There's a lot of hardworking people in this community. They don't need to be disrespected by this gentleman coming here and copying attitude to these people, and especially to this board, and to the president, and to some of you respectable people, okay? Do not support this project.
Rodriguez?
Good evening. I just want to come to this as, we're keeping residential. We all live here. We all know how, the community we decided to move in, what we're looking for. We buy into the community as what it is. As Sereno, it's going for the hills. We look at our monument. The monument as building. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to keep our community the way it is. Once you start developing this project, it's going to add to the congestion, the traffic, the lack of parking. And it's also going to affect all the wildlife that we have still here in our community. We still have certain species of birds, and if you live up and down the hills, you always see raccoons, even coyotes that go out there. Once we start developing all these areas, we're going to lose all that wildlife that we have around here. I feel that when this project first started, it didn't communicate didn't have any community outreach the way it should. It feels like this project was done intentionally when there's no classes going on, there's no parents going in and out of school. It feels like, they only said, yeah, we outreach to, all the 500 radius, but the people that really are going to be affected with it is people that travel to here, that go to here and live in this area. And all this stuff is not, all this information is not being communicated to all the people that are not here right now because school's not active. I just want to, have my little part in it and let everybody know that, I support this project.
Okay, now that we've finished with public comment, we've been talking with Don a little bit about this, so we're going to open it up to the first to Nick. Give you the opportunity who would like to state the reason why you think this wasn't properly done, and then the board, I guess the way Dunn has been explaining to me here and assisting me, is that if we kind of agree with the way Nick is stated in the argument, we're allowed to vote down the motion. As it stands right now in the parliamentary procedure, the motion has been made, it has been seconded, and I hope that the petition that was given to us, the initiative that was given to us by the public, states that you're compelling us to take a vote. It must state there that you're compelling us to take a vote. Yes.
Yeah, what I was stating is that, at this point, the item is on your agenda. It's something that the board may want to consider or not. The fact that there was a motion to move, or there was a move and a second, means that the board, there's interest in the board to entertain this. And that's what you're doing, entertaining this right now. It's on your agenda, and you have moved forward to entertain it. At this point now, as part of your board member comment, you may use your 2 or 3 minutes of board member comment to say whatever you want in support or against this motion. If you believe that, like I've already been expressed, that this is not something that the board should entertain, then you can do that and let the rest of the board decide. When it comes to a vote, the board will vote however they feel based on what they heard from the comment and from your fellow board members. So at this point, it is a matter on your agenda already that you're already given. So what happens afterwards is up to the board. At this point.
Okay, especially when the room is emotionally charged. Okay? Applauding from one side or the other, that's not the real way to do this. The way is to listen to logic and to find out how to make things done. But please, I ask you for that because I know, I mean, I've been in this committee for 23 years, basically. And one thing that I really want to see is that we all work together. And I saw that with this board like I've never seen it any other board before. Okay, so with that, you want to make an announcement?
In order to, I don't know, remotely, in order to avoid any remote conflict of interest, I'm going to recuse myself because the developer's daughter was a former colleague, her husband was a former colleague of my day job at my office. So I've never met the developer, but I've only met his daughter once. So I'm going to recuse myself from the issues.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make your statement. As opposed to everything else, I really want this to be fair and give Nick enough time to make his argument as to why he thinks this was not properly agendized. Okay?
Well, maybe while we're on the process of recusal, maybe we should address whether or not there are any additional recusals here on the board. Should we do that first?
Can we just use the timer as well for board member comment to start? I don't know if you want to allow 2 or 3 minutes, if that's how you want to use your time to. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just concerned that we're going to be here. Yeah, issues of recusal is up to each individual board member, as stated. So, but I would say, yeah, just please use your time wisely as well as you can get to give your, comments as a board member, and before you move to vote, there is going to be a vote.
By the parliamentary procedure, the way that I was taught is we try to be as fair as possible by we don't get limits on board members' time. Okay? We don't. But there is a fairness thing. And the fairness goes like this. Those that are opposed and those that are against at the point that want to talk about it. So you have one person talk for it, then you talk when the person wants to talk against it, and then another one for it, and then against it until we finally finish those that want to talk. And everybody gets a turn first before anybody repeats again. Okay, so that's the way that the parliamentary procedure works. So try to be as fair as possible. Okay, so let's get started. Mick, go ahead and give your presentation as to why you think, whatever.
First of all, let me address Mr. Aguilar's comments here. If in fact that the vice chair who hosted the agenda planning meeting decided on her own accord to go ahead and put that on the agenda, I think at the very least that is in violation of the spirit of how we have to do things. I'll leave that alone. If you look at article.
Excuse me. Can you? Please, thank you.
Look at article 8, section 2, initiatives. The kernel of that initiative process is 50 words or less, 50 signatures. Okay. Some people may disagree. Some people say anything you put on that initiative, from the first word you put down to the last word you put down, has to be 50 words. We've been down this avenue with prior boards before. I'll let that go for now. And I'll pick up where, on this particular initiative, we'll pick up where it says, "Dear Ms. Castro." Let's start there. That means the body of this initiative, everything below that, and down to where it says "respectfully yours," and we'll leave that alone for right now. Everything below that and above "respectfully yours" is the body of the initiative. That has to be 50 words. Everything that's been redacted, edited, etc. here, regardless, it's still over 50 words. So take a look at it. Secondly, when you submit an initiative, you attach the 50 or so signatures that you want to the initiative. You don't add another petition page to it and then put the signatures on the petition page. If you do that, that means that's part of the initiative, And if you look at the petition page, that's gotta be about, I don't know, 300 words. So, more than 500 words, no signatures, or more than, 50 words, or more than 300 words or so on the petition with 76 signatures. So, which is it, whatever way you look at it, is in violation of our initiative policy. This should have been explained, I'm the messenger here, folks. This should have been explained at the agenda planning meeting. First of all, it was kicked back to the folks that, to the good folks that put it together and submitted it by the presiding officer of the planning meeting, of the agenda planning meeting, which in itself is problematic, okay? That individual should have explained to the community how this initiative process works so that they could have done it correctly. That's it. That's why this is invalid.
Thank you. So let's vote, that's speaking against, right? So now, somebody on the board will speak for. For the motion?
I'm for the project, okay? Wherever anybody lives, anywhere in this country, you have what is called modernization. And that brings a lot of problems to the people where the project is going. Thus here, this hill right here, okay? It inconveniences a lot of people. We're lucky right now that no one's going to get eminent domain. I'm part of that. I was a kid for eminent domain. I know what it's like. But you know, you can't stop progress. If this gentleman is not successful with this project, he sells the property at a profit or a loss, irrelevant. If he sells it, whoever comes up next, most of you will be here. Whatever it is, it's going to go up on that hill. You know, whether it's another school or no schools, apartments, single residence that you want, whatever goes up, guarantee you they're going to be the names by the thousands. I'm exaggerating on the numbers just to make a point. Okay? So all this is based on a lot of fear. Most of you that are here today weren't even born when that hill is the way it is today. Now that you're born and some of your parents, grandparents, even great-grandparents, we still have that lousy hill all like that. It costs thousands of dollars for the maintenance just as the bare hill is. Okay, if whatever goes up there in terms of buildings, as far as the variance, it's a common term that's used to change the zoning from whatever it is to whatever the need is for the new people are going to develop that property. Okay, so all of this is based on fear on you guys. That's why you're here by the tons, because somebody went out of their way to scare the tar out of you. Okay, whatever goes up there, it's going to create a traffic impact. Like it does anywhere where a new project is. Look at Hollywood, those two towers they want to put up there by Capitol Records. Can you imagine what that's going to be like? Okay? And what you're going to have here is nothing what's going to happen there. Okay? And those things are going up. Sooner or later, somebody has to put something there to develop that, because if they sell it, that's going to bring each unit property tax. And all those people are going to be part of the system of buying cars, payments, used cars, new cars, insurance, everybody, medical, they all have jobs. You know, it's going to do a lot of good for the community. It creates work for the people that put up the project. When it's done, you're going to have a lot of people here no matter what. I really believe that that should be developed. Okay? Thank you.
Now we have people basically talking against it, trying to be, I'm trying to be as far as I can here. Would somebody like to talk more the actual?
For the record, Mr. Chair, I'm not speaking really against the project or for the project. I'm speaking the way how this thing was took a round peg and slammed it into a square hole. That's what I'm objecting.
So let me clarify something so you understand. Because of the process, remember the last time that we met a month ago? We talked about process, right? And I said, folks, We've never been taught the process. Even us here, we're still vague on the process. The city has never taught the residents the process. You, okay? You come to us and you're asking us to fulfill a process. And now I'm going to ask Mike for 1 minute to let me speak. Just let me speak and I'll be the chair for 1 second. We don't have the power to really help you at this late hour. That's what I wanted to say tonight. At this late hour in the process, your energies are being wasted by coming here. Let me tell you, explain to you why. You need to get down to City Hall. You need to get your councilman involved in this process because your energy is going to be wasted here. That's all. That's all. My only comment. Then we'll go right back. Okay. Go ahead. Who wants to now talk for the motion?
So I am Chair for the Land and Development Committee. I apologize for being late today, but there are some things in Mr. Chavez I just want to address. I don't think anything negative is about to scare the community. They were informed, they received hearing notices from the city, and that's what they acted upon. The residents' concern that I'm listening to very much is in regards to this project is about the parking. The mixed commercial project is just not suitable for a residential area, and that's what I keep on hearing from the community. So at this point, the motion in Mr. McGuire's response, the motion based on our bylaws is for 50 words or less from the motion, not from dear President or dear Connie Castro. Yes, it is, sir. So.
Okay, hold on. Again, under parliamentary procedure, there is no back. So you're kind of out of order to address Mr. McGuire. You got to address all comments to the chair.
Oh.
Okay, that's the way it works.
Thank you. There's a couple of things that I did during my research, and Mr. Anthony Manzano told me to look at the research. The main question was that letter of support that was issued by the prior board. When we were researching it, I found that on the Yahoo group, the chair, the general meeting was held on May 2nd, because the letter of support is stating, but it was posted on the Yahoo group on May 1st, which would have been a violation of the Brown Act if it required a 72-hour notice. In addition to that, there was an email that was sent only to board members at the time, nobody from the Yahoo group, stating that the meeting that was rescheduled as a continuance from May 2nd to May 8th, which was rescheduled to May 9th, and there's another agenda attached to that. On that agenda, this item is still there as a continued open item. So how can that letter of support, how could there be a unanimous vote on May 2nd? Is what I'm saying, is it still an open item on the May 9th agenda? That was the question, I think, in response to the residents wanting that letter to be rescinded. In all fairness, the developer, if he had asked for a hearing extension prior to that, to allow us more time to be able to research, to know and inform the community about the project, but that wasn't honored. So we were stuck with a very strict time frame and sensitive issue for the community to address this issue. So it's back to the general.
Mr. Chair.
Hold on. Wait up. I gotta keep going at this point. If nobody else wants to add on, we'll go back to you. But first, we gotta give at least everybody one chance to either talk for or against. We've had 2 against the motion, 1 for the motion. Anybody else want to speak for the motion?
I am in support of the motion. I do believe that we still have power as residents. I didn't have that opinion when it was, I still don't have all the facts, and I had a completely different opinion. But I do believe there's still time to make a difference. So I am in support of the petition to the announcer to deny the construction of the project.
Anybody else? Now that we have 2 and 2 against the motion?
Yeah, against the motion. My name's Scott Johnson. I also am a member of the Land Use Committee. Okay. And going to the chair here. We've been talking about process this evening. And we heard the comments earlier from Mr. Venegas talking about his plans to pull a continuance on this. in the spirit of process, we need to discuss courtesy, objectivity, and ethics here. The courtesy is that we never have given a full, ample amount of time for Mr. Venegas to make a full and an objective presentation without the emotional attachments to the full board. Nobody here really has heard from Mr. Venegas in this current incarnation of this neighborhood council. And as a land use committee member, his daughter, with the Val Marcus, came to give a courtesy update on the project. And during the time she came to the meeting, I am in agreement with Mr. Venegas' earlier comments. I felt that he was treated disrespectfully. Further, I've heard the land use chair state that she has a financial conflict of interest, that this would affect her property value. And I think another board member has heard that same comment. Okay? So in that issue, when it comes to objectivity, the land use chair should have recused herself from this issue. In terms of ethics, this petition process was deplorable. It was a deplorable event to see somebody present a petition without any other executive committee members being given a chance to substantiate whether the documentation met the qualifications in the bylaws. It was taken in and accepted at the moment of handing it. So at that point, that petition, when it was handed in and the presiding officer at that meeting accepted the documentation, that documentation was flawed. And afterward, to have a process where people are scratching out to meet the requirement after the presiding officer accepted the documentation as is, it's ethically deplorable. This board, right now, and I'm not going to state this, in a court of law, if you take a petition and then you alter the words, each person who signed that petition should have the right to reread it and re-sign it before submission into the record. And that was not done. Okay? And getting back to the committee, we've been wanting the majority of the committee members to have asked the land use chair for a meeting to give Mr. Venegas a fair chance to come back and talk about his project to the committee. And that's been denied. What we have here, and I hate to go back to 7-Eleven, but it's a 7-Eleven all over again. When board members, when we should be working as a whole group, okay, working the process as a committee as a whole, we are basically having a minute few dictate what we have to do. And that is wrong.
Any more comments from the board? Okay, hold on.
Done.
Wait.
Yes, that's it. This is done.
And I apologize. I know there's like 3 people now running your show, but there's a couple of things. One is, I understand the emotional and the whole process, frustration and all that. I get that. But there is a motion on the table, and as board members, your comments have to be to the motion on the table.
Thank you.
Not to the, now, if you guys wanted to question the process as to how it got onto the agenda, put the process on the agenda for discussion. I understand, and I've been reading the bylaws over and over again, trying to figure out the initiative process. It is very generic. It is very general. It doesn't say who the initiative goes to. It doesn't say that it has to be verified. It doesn't say that some officer has to check the signatures. What's the process? What do you guys want the process to be? Put that in standing rules so that everyone knows. I mean, if stakeholders read this, they're just going to say, initiative submitted to the board. Who? Vice President? Land use? Secretary? Who does it go to? Who verifies signatures? Who verifies 50 words? There's nothing on your agenda that states that. So if you guys are expecting stakeholders to follow a certain criteria, it'd be best for you guys to spell that out for them and for yourselves. Okay, so, thank you for so I just, again, folks, I get it. I get the frustration. I'm just coming in, but I really, there's a motion on the board. If you guys don't want the motion, get it out, vote it out. And then go on to the next motion. But folks are like talking Thank you.
No. Folks, let me just give you a frustration from, if you happen to be the chair. Chair. Good. Let me give you an example of some of these bylaws that were given to us by Dunn, because we screwed up the process last year. Now I was the bylaws chair, and I got fired. I got fired by that president, because I was trying to straighten this thing out. But then we got these bylaws, and there's one that really cracks me up, because we got a Ralph N. Brown Act that says, public comment, you're allowed to speak up here. You don't even have to identify yourself, other than, I want to speak before this board. But then right here on page 14, I read, in our bylaw, given to us by the folks that are helping us tonight, and telling us that we should have standing rules, and haven't assisted us in getting there. Okay, that's it. And I don't mind speaking like this because, look, I have gone to the city attorney myself on other issues and found out that the city attorney does not represent us, the stakeholders, us, the citizens. It represents the government of the city of Los Angeles. The city attorney's job is to defend them against lawsuits and things that we, and so a lot of people, we'll go to the city attorney and we'll get justice. It doesn't work that way. It does not. And the same when I think about, now watch. Public comments shall be received in writing to the president. That's what our bylaws say. But that's not true. Public comment is made here. Okay, so that's it. The chair has spoken, and I can understand the frustration of any chair, Mr. Garcia. That's all right, Mr. Garcia. I remember when you were fighting this. Go ahead.
Okay,
No, hold on.
okay.
Hold on, Rudy, hold on. Sit down. Is there anyone that has not spoken on the board that would like to speak for or against? Okay, go ahead. Eddie.
I am for the petition, and I hope to see everybody out there at City Hall tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Board of Public Works. Don't you show up? It's on the 3rd floor. Yeah. Thank you.
Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody. I am Anthony Manzano, former president of the Neighborhood Council. So I'm pretty familiar with what Mr. Pacheco, or the current chair, is going through. I have my book of Robert's Rules of Order here, which I've read twice already, to make sure that we do follow the process. And being fair and impartial to all the stakeholders is very important. One stakeholder brought it up to the attention, a board member brought it up to the attention. I want you guys that are here tonight to be aware of exactly what's going on. When that document, the petition, was submitted to the executive committee, it was changed, altered, manipulated, scratched out, whatever words you want to use. Because what we were trying to do is to meet the intent of the stakeholders to put it on the agenda. There were well over 50 words, which automatically would have excluded them from following the process. Automatically thrown out. Second thing is, we are all following the process in the bylaws, and I heard 2 people mention it today about the initiative. Wrong. We are following the referendum, because this board already took a vote on it. We didn't take a vote once, we took a vote twice. So if you look at the bylaws, everyone's looking at page 14, you actually need to move to page 15 where it says referendum. And what it specifically states is the referendum is a procedure by which the stakeholders compel the board to reconsider a vote again on an action of the earlier board, which is what you guys are doing. You're asking us to hear the same issue that's been heard a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, however long, but the board already took an action. The difference is, the initiative is something you guys want us to hear for the first time, because you guys are the initiators. The difference is, now it's a referendum because the board already heard this item. Okay, and the problem is, I'm going to get to the point. The reason why I oppose this,
it's the second item.
no,
The referendum is for the next item.
okay, but this is a petition, that's to rescind the petition. Okay.
No.
That's not the
What
motion.
what we're doing though,
You're arguing the second.
the motion, item number 3, says that we want the neighborhood council to support the petition's hearing officer to deny the Banco project development request for the zoning site. And this, like Mr. McGuire is saying, they didn't follow the right process.
No, but what I'm saying to you, the referendum speaks
To the
the next item.
Okay, we'll be hearing that. On this item number 3, Mr. McGuire, I side with you. We did not follow the process. The committee did take a vote. The vote was 2-1-2, which meaning even the executive committee did not approve to agendize this. But we're trying to listen to you guys by placing it on the agenda, which is, like what Scott's saying, in the spirit of things, but we do have to follow the rules, and I understand the rules. But the process wasn't met thoroughly for me to take a position in favor. Thank you.
Anybody else? Personally?
Are we still on?
We're still on number 3. Okay. So, any more comment?
Clarification,
First.
actually just said only because we did receive, statement from the city attorney regarding this issue being a new item for this. It's not a.
No, I think I'm gonna go ahead and let Don explain this one, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a new item for this board. So this kind of speaks to item number 4, Roman numeral 4. This is a new item for this board. This board is not taking any action on this matter. So this board is not reconsidering anything that is done in the past. This is a new item for this board.
Basically, what he's saying is when a new administration is elected, like any government, and usually that's why you elect new people, because you didn't like the last decision, we get the new board to consider this as new item. Okay, that's what he's saying. Okay, look, in the spirit of time, unless you guys want to continue listening, are we going to have something new? Or, okay, well, Nick, we'll start again with you.
You can start the motion, Angela, if you want to, but that still doesn't meet the 50-word criteria. Go and count through it. It comes all the way down to respectfully yours. That's the initiative process. It doesn't have the 50 signatures.